Greetings.
Greetings to you as well.
Whoa! Whoa! Quick! Whoa! Quick! Go! Yeah! Go! No, I shouldn't leave now. Yeah! Go! Go! Quick! Ka!
You have a kind master, eh, Mutt?
Ja! Ka! Go! Ka! Go!
That mutt the Sluttigo greengrocer has, my word, What a beauty.
Beauty? Don't know about that.
I'd go back for him in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't go back there if I was you. You know why?
May God grant you good health.
May God protect you. What's the matter? Did you drop something? Lord be with you.
I'm Henry, Miller of Crazel. He sent me to search for a niter pit and said you might be able to help me with that.
Of course I will. I'm Bonnie. Nice to meet you.
Bonnie? It's not a name I hear often.
It's not the name I was baptized with. In our craft, it ain't a good idea to tell people your real name. That's why we use nicknames. What should we call you?
The poet.
Well, that's not very creative. You know what? I'll come up with a nickname for you myself when I get to know you better. Did you bring me something from the mill?
Actually, Crazel said you'd appreciate some herbs.
He's right there. Do you have some for me?
I'm sorry.
I reckon I'll just have to scrape together the ingredients for that magic ritual.
What kind of...
The kind where Zenek finally gets some sense into his head and stops making stupid beginners. Just so you know, that mess with the author of Hermes Trismegistos would never have happened to me. While we're on the subject of rituals, did...
He did.
And...
I'm curious to see what a golem made of flour will look like. But I'm mostly curious to see if Crazel will really be able to breathe life into it with the help of saltpeter.
I'm more worried that as soon as it comes to life, it'll slay us all with one blow. So, if by some chance it looks like something's going wrong, you won't see my heels for dust. And I suggest you do the same. But that's enough of that. We're not going to stand here talking about flower golems when we've barely just met. I'd like to chat with you too, Henry. But if you're in a hurry to find Crazel's saltpeter, I won't.
No. I have plenty of time. But where to start?
You know what? When they caught Zenek in Troskovitz, I was scared out of my mind that they'd catch me and clap me in the stocks. I had to hide out here for a while, so I haven't had anyone to talk to. Life in the lair isn't all fun and games. Zenek and all the other mill knuckleheads were never worth much as company. So I'm glad the miller's finally found a normal hand for once. You've got a beautiful dog. What's his name?
Mutt.
What a cute fella. How did you find each other?
Among the wolves. Not a word of a lie. That is, I lost him and then found him again in a wolf pack.
Well, I'll be... That's what I call an interesting past. I used to have a dog, but I don't anymore.
He died.
He started getting these lumps all over his body. He stopped eating, just slept all the time. And then, well, what's done is done. And what about you? What kind of family are you from?
The very same.
Before I could even walk. But it wasn't an apple. It was a silver groschen from my god.
And you got away with it?
I did indeed. Nobody saw. It came in handy in the convent too. Slipping out of a boring sermon unnoticed, that's what I'm... And it don't matter who's preaching. Whether it's a priest, what do you think of the old miller anyway?
He seems awfully mystical. He has lots of experience, like as if he's lived for hundreds of years.
It's his beard that does that. Don't let... Thanks for talking to me. It really is good. But now, about that saltpeter. Before you came, and before Zenek fucked up with the manuscript, we collected saltpeter all over the place, mainly in stuff. It has to be scraped from the walls. Horrible work. Time-consuming. I'm not going to lie to you. We also looked in a few chests, just in case. Anyhow, now all the styes in the region are scraped clean, and we're sitting pretty on a nice barrel of saltpeter.
Potassium.
Barrel is quite a lot.
For the whole Trotsky region, aye. Unfortunately, Krazel said we need at least 6 times as much.
6 times? Will one saltpeter pit be
I reckon so. There should be as much as Krazel needs for his masterwork. If you're looking for it, you ought to know how saltpeter forms. Do you have any idea?
Certainly. You take a damp wall, like in a sty, you let the water evaporate from it, and you get this salty bloom.
That's right. But like I told you, all the sty walls in the region are scraped clean, and we can't wait. Don't forget that saltpeter crystals are formed in places where something is rotting. It can be shit or carcasses. Well, a saltpeter pit is actually nothing more than a mass grave. The best natural saltpeter maker.
Krazel said saltpeter is a vessel for life energy. I get it that it's left over from dead bodies, but how do you get it from shit?
God's mysterious ways. You know how it is.
And he also wanted me to taste it. That's nonsense, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it isn't. Otherwise, you won't know if it's saltpeter or some other shit. It feels kind of cold on the tongue.
Jesus. And you know where to look for such a pit?
Not exactly, but I have an idea. A person who's digging holes and throwing dead bodies into them and doesn't even know he's got a a saltpeter mine.
The local gravedigger?
Exactly. And the one we have here in the region is also the knacker.
Ah, the gravedigger Ignatius. I've already met him. He lives outside Troskowitz in the direction of Apollonia, right?
Aye, that's him.
So I'm in for a walk to the cemetery.
Seems like it. Too bad you couldn't have walked around the county with us before. It was fun, and pretty useful experience. I learned a lot during that time, and I won't keep it to myself. I'd be happy to teach you.
I'll keep that in mind.
That old gravedigger will be suspicious, so I'd bring him some kind of offering. He's always dragging those carcasses, so I'm sure he'd appreciate a slab of fresh meat from Troskowitz butcher.
Good idea.
He lives a short way from the cemetery, so at least the meat won't go bad on the way. Lots of luck, the poet.
Why do you work for them?
Because he pays well, and don't care how much coin I make on the...
You mean by stealing?
And he doesn't ask any
What did you do before?
I got by any way I could. Believe it or not, I started in a convent.
You? A nun? Well, why not? I was in the cloisters myself for a while.
Oh well, different people have different fates. But we all ended up here anyway, in the armpit of...
What do you think about Crazy?
You're another one of those that don't know if they should love him or hate him, eh? Krazel is his own man. Once you learn to get along with him, you can't help but admire. But sometimes, he's unbearable as soon as he opens his mouth.
What do you know about the Troskowitz?
He's a pretty tough old bird. He follows the rule, I'll treat you the way you treat me. And he appreciates when a fella's direct and open. But I probably wouldn't tell him everything about it.
So, Bonnie, the most honest girl I know, sent me. I'd like to see some dead animals as models for painting a church fresco. A scene from the...
That might be a bit much.
How was the saltpeter collection and tasting again?
It wasn't. Xena kept whining about it, but when you go and clean someone's sty, they don't pay much attention to you and leave their purses and chests. We made a pretty decent amount on
What, by stealing?
confiscating property for the greater glory of God.
Tell me something more about Zin.
He's Andy, that's for sure. But to be honest, I don't care for Crazel's bullshit most of the time either. I do this job because it's fun. He does everything for his own good, doesn't give an... Actually, he really pisses me off with his attitude. And he entertains himself by coming up with the stupidest nicknames for me. Dunga, for instance. What kind of a bloody author?
Oh, lovely. And what...
Scruffy. Or Jan, Nicholas, Franz, Peter, Jakub. The most bland. He tries to be careful, but then he opens his big mouth and fucks it all up, just like in Troskowitz.
What is this lair place?
Crazel built a stall so all them honest, curious people in the mill, the likes of Hensel, wouldn't have to worry their little heads about what we're doing here.
You mean behind that boarded-up door in the cliff?
We're definitely not doing anything there right now. Because of the mess, and I told Xenek to clean it up. I think he wants to see if the place will get so rotten that saltpeter will bleed.
I'd like to learn something.
And what would you...
I need a few tricks.
All right, I'll show... What are you doing here? You have a kind master, hey, doggy? What are you doing here?
You must be Zinnek.
I was wondering what you're doing. Fresh blood for the gang.
You keep fucking up time after time.
If you mean the fuck up with Crazel's document, it wasn't my...
Anyway, greet. What is it you need?
Need to know a few things about my new task. What do you know about...
Not much to know. He's half gravedigger and half knacker. He takes care of both dead people and...
Never have figured that out without your help.
He's my father. And he's a wizard.
Yeah, right.
It's true. I was born the 7th son. I have the power of clairvoyance and I can raid... I'm just hiding out with the miller. And I've been chosen to save the world.
Yeah, nice story. But if I'm going to get the miller some saltpeter...
Oh, aye. You're not much. The gravedigger's as boring as you. Also, he knows when he's being lied to and he... So don't even try...
You see? That's the kind of thing I wanted to know.
I'll be with you and have a
It
pleasant evening.
happens! Just watch where you're going next time.
Oh, oh.